All right. Well, good morning again, everyone. Again, my name is Alex Berg. I'm the founder and CEO of Kratos Equipment here in sweltering South Florida in the winter. What we're going to do today is talk a little bit about the history of our company, how we got started, and how our equipment has progressed with the way technology has progressed as well. Right. So, very brief backstory. Grew up in the demolition business, so our equipment is really designed with that contractor in mind. Interior remodeling, renovation, and you'll see that progression throughout, okay? So on my left, I have what started out as our very first machine, our Sherpa 100 Eco, okay? In the back here, you'll see there's an orange machine that led into our remote-controlled mini skid steer, so also battery, our EHD, all right? That led into our two-speed machine, which is our newest model, which we'll get into today. And then that also led into our Twinka ES 800, which is our high-tip dump buggy right here in the center. So today, we're going to make sure that we go over a lot the progression from the Eco to the two-speed, and then how the Twinka ES 800 fits into that. All right? I want to try and make this as interactive as possible. So if you do have any questions at any time, I have Laura, she's helping me in the background here. Please type into chat. There's a Q&A section. You can upvote and downvote the question. So if somebody asks a really great question and you also want that question answered, you can type a little, click a little upvote so that Laura recognizes that quicker. And we'll try and get as much of these questions answered. So you as the people on this webinar as well can get a really good understanding of the benefits and features and how these machines can fit into the contracting world, okay? We'll also, towards the end, do a little bit of a demonstration of our two-speed with our vacuum system attachment. This is one of our most popular attachments, how that unit can interact with our ES 800, which will then pick a piece of concrete that weighs about 500 pounds. It'll pick it up and dump it into this beautiful, well-designed green dumpster right here on the side of me. All right, so again, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free, type it into the chat, type into the Q&A, and we'll kind of bring you on stage, let you ask your question, and then for those that do answer questions, we got a little swag bag gift for you that just make sure Laura gets your address, and we'll be able to send something out to you, okay? So to start, our 100 Eco is a 100% battery-powered mini skid steer, all right? This unit has been around for about 7 years. It's just under 5 feet long, weighs about 1,600 pounds, comes standard with non-marking solid tires, right? You can do tractor tires, you can do all types of different things, right? Each one of these attachments will fit on any of these machines. So regular bucket, we've got a grapple bucket here, our hydraulic hammer, our floor scraper, and our vacuum system, along with a set of pallet forks. Anything that you can imagine can be outfitted for these machines. All right? Again, designed for that interior work. So if I turn this directly facing the screen, you'll see this machine is extremely narrow. Okay, our two-speed and our EHD are the exact same width, but these machines are 31 inches wide. So this machine will fit through any standard door, whether you're in the US, Canada, in Europe, in Australia, in Asia. A standard door is going to be about 33 inches or 32 inches with the door still in the frame. So these units will go through any interior standard size door, all right? What we found over time with this machine is people want bigger, stronger, faster, right? So that innovation led to our two-speed. So one of the biggest things with this Eco is that on a skid steer, an operator is used to just turning this machine on a dime, right in one place. So this machine struggles with that. It's designed to run a full day, so you're going to get 7.5 to 8 working hours out of this machine, and it's going to recharge on 110 volts. But if I try and move this as an operator and try and move it like that, this machine really struggles. Okay, it has a very tough time doing that. It'll do it because this is a very smooth surface, but it won't do it as easy as our two-speed. okay? So our two-speed machine is the newest innovation from this product line, all right? This machine will push harder and drive faster than our standard Eco, all in the same compact size. So it has a very quick, high-speed drive function that you can just touch with your pinky finger, right? So in my low speed, I have increased torque, so it's very easy for the operator to spin in a small circle, right? So I can very easily turn one wheel one way, one wheel the other, and spin this machine very easily, unlike I could with the Eco, all right? If I were to switch this to the high-speed drive function, it makes it much harder to do because I don't have that added torque. I have the added hydraulic flow, right? So that allows the operator in this unit to drive longer distances faster. It's about 25 to 30% faster speed than our Eco, right? And in the low speed, where it has the higher torque, it's about 25 to 30% more pushing power. So in the field, what that means for our two-speed is that this is a much more efficient machine for an attachment like our floor scraper, right? Or an attachment like our hydraulic hammer. You get the increased flow with the hydraulic hammer, and you get the increased pushing power with the floor scraper, right? The Eco is still a fantastic machine for items like the vacuum lifting system. It's great because it still has the same lift capacity, that's 700-pound capacity, right? It's great for the pallet forks. It's great for the regular bucket. It's great for the grapple bucket, right? Certain attachments, when you go with a more advanced machine, have a greater efficiency with different attachments, okay? Are there any questions so far with how we've discussed the Eco and the transition to the two-speed? Okay. Feel free, jump in at any time. If anybody has any questions at all, I'm happy to stop and talk about anything regarding the machines, all right? So these machines, what's also nice about these units is now with the increase in battery technology, these units, we can switch out a standard lead acid battery for a lithium battery, okay? The benefits of a lead acid battery versus a lithium battery are a lead acid battery, the technology has been around for a very long time. About 75% of the world's batteries are lead acid. So your standard industrial forklift batteries, your car batteries, right? Most of those are standard as lead acid. With a lithium battery, the pros of a lithium battery are there's zero maintenance for a lithium battery. The BMS, the battery management system, handles all of that for you, okay? So in the field, if this is going out to the contractor that's using it on the job site, in regards to the battery and the upkeep, all they really have to worry about is plugging it into their standard 110-volt electrical outlet at the end of the day. They're going to come back in the morning, and that machine is going to be fully charged and ready to go. The BMS inside the battery is going to do everything else for it, okay? Awesome. We have a question from somebody. A couple questions. I see Dave. You're on mute. Yeah, I can't hear you. Are you there, Dave?
Alex, Dave's question was, do any of the attachments shorten runtime?
That's a great question. Thank you, Laura. The only attachments that are going to shorten the runtime are going to be something that's using a high hydraulic flow. So a hydraulic hammer, right? That's going to draw a little bit more amperage on the battery, which is going to make the battery draw down faster. It's like when you're with a combustion engine in your truck. If you're pulling a trailer, right, the engine has to work a little bit harder to pull that extra weight. your miles per gallon goes down, right? So it's the same thing in this regard with the batteries and the electric motor. So our hydraulic hammer will draw it down a little bit faster. So if you're hammering, instead of the 7 to 8 working hours out of the machine, you're going to get about 4 to 4.5 hours of hammering time, okay? So with these machines, that's physical time standing on the machine and actually using a hammer and hammering. And then as you move this machine to a different section of the job, you're going to hammer again. So the 4.5 hours is just the physical hammering time. The use of the machine is not that much. It doesn't draw down on the battery when you're moving from one area to another, okay? So I hope that was able to answer your question, all right? The floor scraper also typically is gonna run down a little bit faster than the other attachments because with that, you're using a lot of that force to push, okay? This unit does not have a reduced runtime versus the Eco. So the runtime on our 2-speed is still going to be about the same. You're still gonna get that 7.5 to 8 working hours out of a 2-speed with a lead acid battery. If you upgrade to the lithium, you get slightly more runtime. So you get about 15 to 20% more runtime. So instead of that 7 to 8 hours, you're gonna get about that 8 to 9. But the real benefit of that lithium is you have zero maintenance, okay? Laura, we had somebody else jump on that has another question.
Alex, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Good morning.
My question to you with the new system, does the BMS allow you to operate and charge simultaneously?
That's a great question. So that system doesn't really have anything to do with the battery itself. That really has to do with the electric motor. So our electric motor is a DC motor. So you need direct current going into the electric motor. It cannot take anything out of the wall. It can't take AC current out of the wall and convert it. So it's not an electric system per se. It's a 100% battery system. So this unit has to be plugged into the battery in order to get the current to the electric motor in order to operate the machine. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Perfect. The 2-speed is really about increased efficiency over the Eco, right? Same machine, same concept, just a new pump that allows the 2 speeds so that you can have increased efficiency for pushing power if you need it, or you can have increased efficiency for the driving speed if you need it. Laura, looks like we have somebody else. Another question?
Yeah, how you doing, Jeremy Clancy is my name. I'm just curious, the attachments, the buckets, etc., are they standard, mini digger type attachments, or do they have to be purchased specifically for this model, for these units?
Great question. So these attachments, the ones that are here, are designed specifically for our machine. Our machine has a proprietary connection plate. We do have a universal bracket, a universal conversion bracket. So if you do want to run some additional attachments that you may have in your fleet already, you can do that. Typically, we see that with hydraulic hammers, right? Because hydraulic hammers, they're very narrow anyways. So the top caps are generally pretty narrow. The issue that we run into with additional attachments in the field, say, they're built by any one of the attachment manufacturers that's out there. They're standard at 34 inches wide or 36 or 40 or 44. They're a little bit wider, right? So keep in mind, these machines are designed to go through a single door inside with no fume restriction. So the attachments are mainly 31 inches wide. So when you get out to the field, you don't have to labor and take the attachment off of the machine, turn it sideways, push it through the door, and then to be able to reattach it. So some of the other attachments, we can do that with these machines, but most units, they're gonna come with a regular bucket already. And then our second most popular attachment is our grapple bucket. Those go with about, I'd say probably 85% of our machines that are shipped out go with a grapple. And then our vacuum system is our second most popular attachment.
Okay, thanks. And just one other question: is there
Sure.
a fast charge option in these? Like we have EV charging locations in our business.
Sure.
Can they be used?
With the lithium battery, there is an option, or each lithium battery is going to be able to get about 80% of its charge in the first 2 hours of the charge cycle. The BMS is going to equal out that charge over time. So with the lithium battery, if you're working a double shift, right, you could theoretically charge the lithium battery for 15 minutes during a break and then an hour over lunch and get an additional 15 to 20% charge, right? You can, of course, if you have access to 220 volt on the job site, which is standard in North America. Most job sites have that. It just some contractors don't know how to access that power without an electrician, right? You can get that option for a faster charge, which allows you to draw more amperage, which would allow you to charge the batteries faster, right? The lead acid battery is more of a single charge cycle. So the lead acid battery, you want to work the machine for the entire day, plug it in at the end of the day, and then let it go all overnight so you have a full charge. The full charge in the lead acid is going to take you about 10 hours, and a full charge in a lithium is going to take you about 8 to 9 hours. Was that able to answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So what I want to be able to show everybody is how these. I'm going to bring the. I'm going to move this machine over to the side here, right? And I'm going to bring out our Twinka machine, right? So this is a new unit for our fleet for 2021. It's also 100% battery powered, and this unit will scissor, so it will lift up and dump into a dumpster, right? So this unit's capable of carrying 1,700 pounds, okay? This tray is just over half a cubic yard. So this is a pretty large bin. Half a cubic yard, you're able to lift and dump 1,700 pounds. This unit is slightly wider than our Sherpa machines, right? So this unit is 35.5 inches wide. So it'll still fit through most standard doors, but it will not fit through every single standard door, which is the big difference between the Sherpa and this unit, right? Sherpa will fit through every standard interior door, and this will fit through most. But if the door still has the frame on it, it's a little bit tight. It may or may not fit through it, all right? So this unit also recharges on 110 volts, right? It runs for 6 to 7 hours on a single charge and then recharges in about 8 hours. So similar to the Sherpas, recharges overnight on 110, right? Then a couple of the really nice features about this machine is there's a safety stop right here. So if I'm the operator and I'm walking behind this unit and I hit this safety stop, this little red cap here, this unit will automatically stop. There's no way that I can go back any further without taking this machine forward first, right? So I would have to take it forward just to do it with my hand. This unit stops completely. I cannot make this unit go back any further before I take it forward first, and then I can come backwards again. So a safety feature so that an operator doesn't get pinned up against something, right? As I said, this unit will dump over, right? So fully hydraulic dump, which is really nice, okay? This saves a lot with labor, right? So in the demolition remodeling space, which is where I originally come from, the most expensive part of a project is removing that material from a job site, right? So how do you get a material off the ground or off the wall, or how are you renovating that space? And then how are you taking that material from inside of a building to outside of a building, right? This unit does two things at once. So this unit will allow you to carry a significantly more amount of material than your standard wheelbarrow would or your standard person would at one time. And then it will give you the ability to walk it outside, pick it up, and dump it over the side of a 20-yard dumpster. So a 20-yard dumpster is very standard in the demolition industry, because as you're filling it up with concrete, if you overfill a 30-yard dumpster, the tractor would not be able to pick that container up. So they keep that at a 20-yard so that the 20-yard, as the contractor fills it, it's not going to be too heavy for the tractor to pick. Right. This unit has lead acid batteries. Okay. And it's a fully it's an electric over hydraulic system. So, all right. Looks like we have another question.
Hello?
Hey, Brad. Hey, Brad. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you?
I'm fantastic. What can I answer for you?
I was going back with the two-speed machine. You see a lot of the dedicated floor scrapers out there. Have you done any comparison on how that attachment works with the two-speed compared to those dedicated units, those dedicated ride-on scraper units?
Sure. So those machines in comparison, I would never tell somebody, you know, if you have a project that you're looking to add a new machine to your fleet and it really is a flooring removal job, I would not say to somebody, you know what, this is the machine that you need to go with because it's going to be able to do all of that. This is a great complementary machine to those ride-on flooring machines, right? But the ride-on flooring machines are designed specifically for that purpose in mind, right? This unit is specifically designed as a skid steer, which is really a material handling machine, right? So the floor scraper is great for any kind of rescrape. So carpet, linoleum, VCT, anything that's got a glued down surface. If it's got a mortar base, it really struggles, right? So even some of those ride-on flooring machines, they struggle with that mortar-based material because that mortar is so hard on those units. This machine has an even tougher time with those types of things. So it's great for something that is, you know, 10, 15,000 square feet. If you have a smaller project that you just want to send one machine to the job site, it's great for that. If you've got 100,000 square feet or 200,000 square feet of flooring to remove, look, we're in the business of making sure these units work for our customers and are all over the place. But ultimately, we want to make sure our customers have the right machine for the project. This attachment is not the right attachment for a project of that size, 100,000 or 200,000 square feet or more. It is the right attachment for something that's 10, 15,000 square feet where, you know, you're going to spend an hour, hour and a half scraping that material and then just loading it out with the same machine. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So the Twinka machine, right? Its real use is going to be to work in as a complement to these other units. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to show you our vacuum system, right? I'm going to pull this machine out. I'm going to put this 2-speed back in this space right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this vacuum system. I'm going to lift this piece of concrete. I'll pull it up front so everybody can get a better look at it. This piece of concrete is about 2.5 feet wide and about 3.5 to 4 feet long this way. Okay, so at about 6 inches thick, that's going to mean that this piece of concrete is about 400 pounds, give or take maybe 50 pounds either way. So somewhere between 350 and 450 pounds is what that piece of concrete weighs, right? So if you can imagine, right, a concrete cutter is going to go into a building and they're contracted to go in as a plumber, right? They're contracted to go in, cut out a section of a slab to run a new plumbing line for a food processing facility or something like a Costco or a Walmart or a grocery store that's redoing their freezers, right? A contractor is going to come in, they're going to cut the slab of the floor out. They're going to excavate that material, right? They're going to take that old material out. They're going to bring new material back in, right? So 10 years ago, how would you do that? You would do most of that work by hand. You would have a concrete saw, you'd cut the floor, you'd have somebody with an electric chipping hammer that's, you know, jackhammering the floor out. You'd have shovels, you'd have a wheelbarrow, you'd have a guy that's, you know, trying to balance 250 pounds, 200 pounds in a wheelbarrow. Sometimes he drops it and you have to scoop it back up. Sometimes he doesn't, right? So what I want you to imagine is doing that project with one person or two people just with the use of machines, right? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to jump on this unit, right? And everything here is 100% battery powered. So there's no cords, there's no fumes, right? I'm able to do all of this in a short period of time without lifting a finger. So this is this piece of concrete, right? I can step off and you can see this is just a vacuum pad, right? It takes me about 7 seconds to hook up to this slab of concrete to pick this unit up and raise it up, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to set it down into this ES 800, and then going to put this unit back, and I'm just going to dump this into the dumpster. Is there? We have a question before we go and do this?
Alex?
Yes. Hey, Bruce. Good
Hey,
morning.
good morning. Getting back to that Twinka, are we selling this entirely as an interior machine, or can it make it over some lawns and travel outside to the dumpster if need be?
Absolutely. It's a great question. So these machines are not only for inside, right? The Twinka machine has some tractor profile tires, so taking it out, I don't necessarily know if I would put 1,700 pounds and take it out to the beach, right? But certainly driving over some dirt, debris, if it's fully loaded, it's 100%, it's totally fine. It can go up a ramp, right, when it's fully loaded. This machine is fine to work indoors or outdoors. Our Sherpa units are better suited outdoors with the tractor tires, right? But our machines, most of the time, about 95 to 98% of our Sherpa machines go out with the solid non-marking tires, because there are a lot of other mini skid steers that are out there that are track units that are really designed for that landscaping side, right? Or their original purpose is that landscaping side. This machine's original purpose is the interior. This machine's original purpose is just material handling, so you can use it indoors or outdoors with the same efficiency.
Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, so Bruce, I'm actually happy that you asked that question and kind of stopped me, because I didn't really show anybody how this slab, there's nothing here on this slab except for its cut, right? This is just a vacuum pad. So I'm just able to go and create some suction, grab this piece, and load it up, right? So imagine I'm able to just pull this right out of the floor. Okay. I'm gonna take this over, load it in. And I'm just going to put this unit back in its place so everyone can, so it's out of the way, right? And then this unit, I can still maneuver this as needed, right? And I can pick this unit up even with this 400-pound piece in it with no problem. I can load this up with up to 1,700 pounds, okay? We have somebody that just jumped in with a question.
I think you need to show the control box with that vacuum system.
Okay, I can certainly show that, absolutely, right? So that unit just sits on the back of the battery as a stable place for it. It's an entirely separate unit. Okay. We have another question here.
Yeah, how you doing? How clean does the surface have to be that you're sucking the suction pad on? Like, if it's got, does it?
Great question. So with that attachment, as long as it doesn't have a crack that's fully through it, right? This surface is actually a painted slab, But as long as you can create a good suction, that pad is 8 inches by 12 inches. So as long as you have an 8 by 12 inch section that doesn't have any cracks through it, you can get a good suction, right? If it's a little bit wet, it actually helps. So in the field, what would typically happen is a cutter comes through. Now with the new OSHA regulations for concrete dust, right? Everything's got to be wet cut inside. So you're going to do your wet cut. Somebody's going to come through with a squeegee and a vacuum, kind of suck up all of that slurry and take that slurry off to the side to dispose of it. Machine comes in with the vacuum system and can pull that piece right away, even if it's just a little bit wet.
Okay, so what kind of strength does it have? I would say, could you use it on sidewalks?
Yeah, you can use it on the sidewalk, absolutely. So depending on the size, right? So the 8 by 12 pad is rated for about 700 pounds. With this one vacuum box, right? So I'll pull just the box over here. So this box sits on the back of our unit, right? This box is capable of doing up to a 1,600 pound capacity pad. So a 16 by 16 pad. So the Sherpa itself is not capable of lifting 1,600 pounds. The Sherpa itself is only rated for about 700 pounds, right? But with that one attachment, you can put that onto multiple machines and have multiple uses with different units. Okay. So I've been dying to dump this into the dumpster for the last 10 minutes. So I just want to make sure this goes on without a hitch, right? And all I'm doing is maneuvering this unit back and forth. I can scissor this up, right? So it's up over the side of this dumpster. I can bring it up close. And I can just dump this slab right over the side. All without really lifting a finger. If that slab will come out. Right? So, very simple process for one operator. And that's really the key, right? So that's what our business is built on, is making sure contractors' lives are more successful, right? This is a really easy way to do this with a fleet of battery-powered equipment. If you are a contractor that's working inside of a building, the number one issue that's facing our industry right now is a lack of labor force, right? It's very hard to find people that can do this type of work or are willing to do this type of work. So making it easier for somebody in the field with the newest, greatest technology has always been a passion of ours, and that's what we really want to make sure that we're able to do. Okay. It looks like we have another question.
Yeah, hi. My question is, are you running any incentives or deals for any of these equipment right now?
Yeah, so we have some Q1 specials because of coronavirus and everything that's going on in our world. A lot of the shows that we typically do in the first quarter, we're not doing. So we're typically always at the ARA show. They've moved that to instead of New Orleans, they've moved that to Las Vegas to sometime in the summer. Same with World of Concrete. World of Concrete is typically our best show as a company, as an organization. They've moved that from Las Vegas in January. They moved that, I believe, to the summer as well. So we're doing a no-show special where we have some specials in regards to our Sherpa machines. So if you have any questions, certainly type into the chat. Laura can get you in touch with the right people within our organization to be able to answer any of those questions about what these machines cost, lead times, all of those types of questions, where we can ship to, who our dealers are in that area. We can have somebody from our team get in touch with you relatively easily. Any other questions from anyone in the audience? I know we kind of covered a lot. You know, our progression in technology from our eco to our two-speed, really the difference between those two machines. We talked about our newest machine, our Twinka, our high-tip dump buggy. Yeah, our team is here to help with whatever you guys need. If you have specific questions about your job site, we have equipment specialists that can really talk to you intelligently about how these machines could be used on a specific job. Somebody else with a question?
Hello. What is the average lifespan of each battery type?
Yeah, really great question, Dennis. Thank you. So our lead acid batteries in our Sherpa are going to last. The manufacturer of the battery says about 1,500 cycles. You know, from the contractor's perspective, typically you're going to see about 1,100 cycles, right? We have some units, started the company 7 years ago. We have some units that we haven't replaced the battery at all with the lead acid batteries. So we have some units that have 5, 6, 7,000 hours, still have the same battery, right? We just swap a battery out with a new one. The lithium batteries, part of the positive about lithium, increased cost, lower service cost, but with the lithium batteries, you get about 3,500 cycles, right? So to give you an idea, 3,500 cycles in a Sherpa machine is going to be somewhere in the 15,000 to 50,000 hours of runtime, right? At that point, you're probably just buying a new chassis and using the same battery to put it back into the machine. A lithium battery will far outlast the machine itself, okay? These units are lead acid batteries, so you're looking at a similar cycle for the Twinka units and the lead acid as you are with the lead acid for the Sherpa units. You're looking at right around 1,000 cycles, so 1,000 charges. Okay? Even at 1,000 charges, if you're using this unit every single day, 250 working days a year, you're talking about 4 years of life out of this machine before you're really touching anything. Okay? Looks like we got another question.
Yes, does the Twinka unit come in a solid tire as well, Alex?
Yeah, so these tires are foam filled, right? We keep them as foam filled because it's a little bit easier to maneuver those units and get them as replacements in case they in case they get damaged because of the industry.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? We're coming up right around 40 minutes, so I don't want to keep everybody all day. We got a lot of stuff to do. We're all busy and trying to go out there and make a difference. So let's take 2 or 3 more questions. All right. We got somebody else on the line here.
What would be the expected maintenance on all the machines?
Really good question. So our Sherpa machines only have 3 grease fittings on the entire machine, right? So there's one at the top of the tilt cylinder, and there's one on the bottom of the lift cylinders for the Sherpa machines. Everything else is a Teflon bushing. So at about 500 to 600 hours, you'll get you can order a replacement bushing kit from our team, swap it out, and that way when it's in the field, we don't have to worry about greasing those bushings or not, right? The lead acid batteries have a little bit of maintenance with distilled water, but that's the only maintenance that really goes into the Sherpa units. The drivetrain system is a dry bed, right? So hydraulic motors are on the rear, chain driven to the front. So it's a 4-wheel drive system, but the drive comes from the rear. So if the chain breaks, the unit will still move, but it's a dry chain bed. So there's no maintenance around that. So these units really, there's very little maintenance. Then when you switch it over to a lithium battery, you lose all of that additional maintenance from the battery, the water level and all of that. The only thing at that point that you would have to do to these Sherpa units, whether it's the Eco or the 2-speed, is really show up to the job site and make sure that it's charged. At about 500 to 600 hours, you'll replace the Teflon bushings, and you're good to go with those, okay? This unit, the Twinka unit, has more grease fittings, right? So this does not have Teflon bushings. So each place where there's rotation has a grease insert. So down up here on each one of these arms, right? So this unit has a little bit more maintenance as far as that goes. But because it's battery, because it's electric, there's much less moving parts that you don't have in a combustion engine. So all of the standard oil changes, you know, the transmission oil changes, the checking of the seals, right? Replacing all of that stuff. You don't have those items with electric motors. Your standard electric motor, so take your, I'm going to use a car for an example, right? An F-150 gasoline engine has thousands of moving parts, right? That same truck, when they come out with their electric version, is going to have probably less than 300 moving parts in that entire drivetrain, right? So less moving parts equals less maintenance. Did that answer your question, Brent?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. How about two more questions?
Yeah, I've got another question. I know you said some of them were specifically for indoor use. Can these be left outside, or they're fully weatherproof?
Yeah, great question. So yes, any of these units can be left outside. Okay, so even though our lead acid batteries are water filled, as long as there's a charge in it, it can be left up outside in up to -70, so -70 degrees Fahrenheit. So that unit can be left outside with no problem. All of the electronic components have seals, so you can transport it through rain, through snow. Transportation is not an issue with it. Leaving it outside is not an issue with it. When you get into electronic components, though, cleaning those units, as long as you don't have direct pressure washing on the electric motor, which is encased, which you shouldn't be able to accomplish anyways, or the hour meter, this unit is completely fine. Same thing with this unit. All the electronic components are encased, so pressure washing this unit is fine. Transporting it through the rain or leaving it outside, out in the weather, is fine as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll take one more question. And anybody else with a question for us? All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for your time this morning. Again, my name is Alex Berg. I'm the founder and CEO of Kratos. Kratos is our company. We distribute all throughout North America. And please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'll give you my email address. I'm very receptive to any feedback you guys have or questions about the machines. My email address is Alex, that's ALEX, @kratos.com. So please feel free, reach out at any time. Would love to hear from anybody. Questions, comments, concerns, whether you have something good, you know, if you're a customer of ours already and you've got something terrible to say about our equipment, that's the only way that we get any better. So I want to thank everybody for your time and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.